All right, everybody, we're back on the CNG Media podcast where we talk everything digital marketing and business. Today, I have Eddie Omar. Eddie, we met, last week was it?
Yeah, last week.
And Eddie, you have a company. First of all, you went to URI.
Yep.
And then you started a skincare line and a supplement company.
Yep.
So we'll definitely touch upon both those businesses for sure. But the story you were talking about at dinner about the URI stuff was awesome. So, give us a little bit of background about yourself, where you're from, and then we'll get into the story.
Definitely. So, my name's Eddie Omar. I have a PhD in medicinal chemistry, but about the supplement company, that was actually like the first company that I started. And the reason is I was addicted to Red Bull. Can I say brands?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I could say, can't say.
Red Bull vodkas?
Actually, I didn't even drink in college.
Oh, really?
The only thing I actually ever cared about was being successful. Mm-hmm. So it was let me work as hard as humanly possible. And I just, head down in the books. But the funny thing was my license plate is C student because I'm actually not, I'm not good in school. I was never good in school. So I realized like one day I need to just make a change in my life. And that's when, I had a 1.9 GPA. I got this letter sent home to my parents. And they said, your son's getting kicked out of school next semester if he doesn't get his GPA above a 1.9. And I'm like, oh, shit. And, they send it to your parents, know, and it's nothing more embarrassing than being in college and then having your parents, like, punish you for, not doing 100%. Well in school. So, basically, like, one day I just woke up and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Do I drop out? Just go work for my dad. My dad, he's the one who actually had the skincare company at the time.
Interesting.
And so I called my mom. She's like, yeah, just move back home, work for your dad. Like, it'll be fine. You tried your best for school. I'm like, it's not really what I wanted to hear. I wanted her to kind of say, like, no, like, stick it out. But I remember that was the day where I just decided, today's going to be the first day of the rest of my life. And as soon as I started actually studying, I took up this habit of drinking Red Bulls, pulling all-nighters, and became
Adderall.
I actually didn't take Adderall at the time, yeah. It was literally just like...
Red Bull.
Cases and cases of Red Bull.
How many a day?
Like on a normal day, at least 3 to 4.
Okay.
On like a binger, at least a case or two.
Start in the morning?
Yeah, always. So like the only thing was my morning was 7 a.m., which to me at the time was early. But, you just get to the library, you see all your friends, hang out, and to me that was studying, right?
Yeah.
It actually wasn't studying. But the worst part was I came to a realization where I was like, I'm still getting C's, I'm still getting D's. I need to actually start studying. And that's when I started trying to just like memorize everything and just regurgitate it. My GPA went from a 1.9 to like a 3.4 pretty much within the 2 semesters.
Wow.
And I needed 3 credits left to graduate. And
that's a big swing.
Oh, I had no choice, I was getting kicked out. So it's like, you put me against the wall, I got to fight my way out.
For sure.
And my professor, or actually at the time I was introduced to a professor who needed someone to just like wash dishes, like labware. So I was like, all right, like, I'll do it for 3 credits. He's like, yeah, just do it and you'll help people with research. It'll be good for you. So, all right, cool. The lady that I was helping in the lab, she basically told me, hey, I'm not going to be here a majority of the summer, so I need you to help me with my research. And that's kind of how I started, like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this stuff. Yeah. And so at the end of the summer, they offered me a position, it was a non-matriculating student to become a master's student. And I was like, all right, but I'm not good at school. I can't pass tests. They're like, dude, don't worry about it. You're good at research. Like, that's going to be a majority of this. So like, all right, cool. Like, I'll try. And I was actually really good at research.
Lo and behold, yeah.
And, well, that was the funny part, but I still love my Red Bull addiction. And then a lot of the studies started coming out where supposedly like it would thicken your blood and like had all these negative side
Red
effects.
Bull?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the amount of sugar that was in each can I'm drinking,
it's
3 to 12, yeah, kind of sucks. Yeah.
The come down is probably insane.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So the funniest part about it was I was like, wait, I'm a natural product chemist, or I'm studying natural products. There has to be a way that I can formulate something that I can get the energy or the benefits of something like Adderall, Red Bull, and not necessarily have like the detrimental side effects. So I came up with this product.
Here we go.
Yeah, and this is where it gets crazy. But I was like, I'm not going to compete against Red Bull. I'm not going to compete against 5 Hour Energy. I need something unique. That night, I actually went to a party, and I saw that they cleared out their whole refrigerator of all food, everything. They had it on the floor, and they had jello shots. And I'm like, that's it. I'm going to make an energy, memory, mood enhancing jello shot.
And this is the first of its kind at the time.
Yeah. No one had this. It was just, 4 college students by a college student. And a lot of my friends, they were like pre-med. So I knew that there was a need for this type of product.
Sure.
And so I remember I went home, and my dad has a skincare company, a lab. And, we just had a lot of the basic ingredients.
And
so
he started that from scratch? Your father?
Yes and no. Yeah, that's also like a kind of a crazy story.
We'll get to it.
But I formulated my first one in Dixie cups, and I brought it back to all my lab mates. I'm like, you guys need to try this. It's a jello shot. And they're just like, dude, jello shots, Dixie cups. All right. Like, and everyone thinks there's alcohol in it. And that was the best part. I was like, all right, so here's actually the idea behind it. Just try it. And they tried it, and they're like, wow, it tastes really good. But I also loaded up with sugar. I had like all the ingredients I was trying to avoid, I had in it. But people loved it. The problem was that they would take too much of it. And each one had 250 milligrams caffeine.
Oh, and an average cup of coffee has what? 20? 25?
80. So 80 to 130, depending like espresso or the type of blend.
Way more,
so, yeah, so it's like 2 to 3 cups of coffee. And people were taking it, and they're like, wow, this is great. But then they were like wired. Did the same thing at the gym. Guys, here's some Dixie cups. Here's a pre-workout. Try it. Everyone loved it. But the number one complaints I had was, this works too long. And I was like, isn't that a good thing?
That's a good thing, yeah.
And it was because it was meant for studying. So the idea and the concept was, okay, well, how about instead of taking it in the gym or taking it in the lab, use it to actually study? And people would say, hey, look, this actually boosted my mood. I feel like motivated to study. So I was like, wow, it is working.
But it was more than caffeine, though, right?
Yeah, it was caffeine, ginkgo biloba, phosphatidylserine. I had L-arginine, dimethylaminoethanol, DMAE. So I had like a lot of ingredients that were supported by studies about like cognitive enhancement. So I was like, all right, like this is a good formula. I just need to make it better, not sugar. So I ended up using stevia for a little bit, and that was a pretty good sweetener, but it would like crystallize. So you
would freeze it and.
Well, basically in the gelatin form at the time, for some reason, like these little crystals would start forming in the fridge. But even when I took it out of the fridge, like the crystals wouldn't just dissipate. So like that was like a formulation challenge.
It was like crunchy?
Yeah, and people were like, dude, what is this? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm just trying my best here. I ended up going to use, I'm trying to remember because it's been probably like sucralose. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. I can use a lot less sucralose. And yes, it's not like natural, but
it tastes good.
It tastes good. Exactly. So that was the final form. I ended up finding out that I need a cup, a package to put it in. And I reached out to somebody in China. I was like, look, I need this cup made. It needs to be a squeezable.
How did you find that person? Was it like a connection, or was it just like an internet search?
Yeah, it was actually a connection from, it's going way back. There was a guy who was making jackets, and he basically said like, oh, I have a connect in China if you ever need anything.
So you contacted him?
Yeah, literally.
I love those stories. Because like from point A to point B, it's like, how do we get there? I met a guy 4 years ago that led me to this guy.
Absolutely.
So that's so cool.
It was so wild. The funny thing was, I was like, look, there's a cup that's similar to this, and it's patented. And he goes, don't worry, we have engineers. We're going to look at their patent. We're going to make sure that we don't infringe on it, so you'll be fine. Within probably 2 months or so, we had the prototype. We patented it. We patented like our cup. It was a squeezable, foldable cup that was able to dissipate like heat pretty quickly for the fridge. And I was like, all right, like this is great.
So the cup you would squeeze at the like a normal jello shot.
Yeah.
Same thing, but just plastic, not a Dixie cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
And just so you can squeeze the jello out, so you don't have to like use your finger to like take out. Yeah. So I was like, all right, this is innovative. Like we're good. And I brought it to campus. And the funny thing was, I used to ask my friends. I was like, hey, you guys want some? Everyone would take it for free, but no one wanted to buy it. I was just like, that's like my friends, and I was like, not everyone, but we'll say
majority.
Yeah, I was like, all right, like why don't people want to buy this? And the thing is, as soon as it started getting popularity, is when my friends would actually like start buying it. Or, like not my friends, but just
acquaintances,
people. And then people started wearing like the hoodies and they started wearing the t-shirts. I ended up selling around like 400 shots per week out of the trunk of my car.
That's awesome.
And each one was $2.25, or if you can buy a 12-pack for $25. It was all cash, you know,
all
and I'm a
cash,
college kid.
And then you would give them a t-shirt too, or they would buy a t-shirt?
They would buy the t-shirts.
Interesting.
I don't remember how much I was charging.
Yeah.
I remember a hoodie was $30, and that was expensive. But
for sure,
you know, my cost was like $25.
Yeah.
So it started going pretty viral around campus, and everything was going really well. And the thing is, there was nowhere for people to buy it except if they called me. So I was like, you know what? Let me take the
like a
next
drug
step.
dealer.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
I was the legal drug dealer, and I'm like, there has to be some law against this, but whatever. Like, let me figure it out.
That's what I love about entrepreneurship. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah, like once I get in trouble, let me worry about it. And you know, the funny thing is, when I started approaching the stores off of campus, they were really cool about it. Gas stations would carry it, and it was always on consignment. They're like, look, if we sell it, we'll give you the money for it. Otherwise, they're just going to sit here.
And you're the one going door to door to sell it.
Yeah, door to door. And I would inform them, and it was cool because, like, people would be curious. They'd be like, I wonder if this will sell. I don't really understand the concept fully, but, you know, if you're saying that people are buying this on campus, let's put it in our store and see what happens. So it started selling there too. There were a few nutritional shops that had it in the area.
And did you need like any like FDA approval for it?
For a supplement, you didn't at the time. Yeah, so it was more. Yeah, I was like, all right, let me just wait and get. As long as I had insurance, you know, like
as no one, you know, if no one dies, we're good.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, nobody ever like did die. No adverse effects. Like I had a really good like
case studies.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, so this is safe, and you know, PhD in medicinal chemistry, I kind of knew what I was doing too. Yeah. And so now everything's blowing up on campus and off of campus. And I was like, all right, like this is great. Now I need to get it on campus. And that was the exciting part, because I'm like, okay, we're going to be in the library.
Everywhere.
They're selling tons of Red Bull Monsters. They're selling all my like competitors.
Sure.
And I'm like I'm a URI student. They should like support me. And the funny thing was, when I did the application, you had to do this like online application, and that's the only thing that you needed approval for. Somehow the dean of my college found out about what I was doing, and he calls me into his office, and it was kind of like, it was a very strange meeting. Mm-hmm. He sits me down and he says, hey, I hear about your business. Can you tell me about it? I was like, yeah, you know, I'll tell you, you know, this is it. This is what it is. It's nothing crazy. And he goes, well, we'd really like to help you. I'm like, I don't really need help, but thanks. You know, like I'm fine. And
it's like a mob meeting.
Yeah. And I was like, I felt just so uncomfortable. I'm like, what do you mean, like, help me? Yeah. You know, the words were just so vague. And he was just very persistent, in which we had, I think, like 2 to 3 follow-up meetings. And that was where I was like, okay, well, if you want to help me so bad, just put me in the library. Like, just give me the approval and let me sell in the library. And I just couldn't get the approval.
What was his response?
For which part?
For like getting the approval to get like into the library. Like, what was he saying?
Just let me help. Like, it was just like, let me help you. What's your strategy? Who's funding that? Like, he just actually wanted to know about the business. Like, it was just not even answering any of my questions.
Yeah.
It was more just like, you're going to do it this way. And, you know, I didn't want to do it that way. Like, I was doing fine by myself, selling it out of the trunk of my car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't want calls at like 2, 3 in the morning, like, hey, meet me at the library, meet me here, meet me here. Mm-hmm. So that was the alternative. So, you know, after a few of those meetings, 6 weeks later, he basically calls me, or he doesn't call me into his office. I actually didn't hear from him for a while. I'm like, all right. So I still don't have approval to get into the library. So what's going on? And I haven't seen him around campus or anything like that. And by the way, like, I lived on campus. Mm-hmm. So I was like, this is very strange. And then I find out that, you know, he resigned and he went to a different school for whatever the reasons might be. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of exciting to me, because I said, look, this is my opportunity for the new dean to give me the approval. And the funny thing was, it would just always stop there. Like, no matter whose approval I needed, what I needed signed off on.
What do you think it was?
I don't know. I have some opinions.
Idea, yeah.
Yeah, it just, I think that there's, you know, as a grad student, we're not allowed to moonlight. And I think that, you know, I was being stipend, and I think that that had a lot to do with it, where,
it's so short-sighted because as a university or even a college anywhere in the country, if you have someone that has a business like this that could really stem to be something later on down the road and say we started here, that's a cool story to tell.
You would think.
You would
right?
think, yeah.
And that
wasn't the case.
I was so surprised. I really thought that, and I understand. I think there's like a lot. It was a state school as well, so
Yeah.
I think for them it's probably liability, and they didn't. They knew me, but they didn't.
Tape.
Yeah, you know. So I'm like, all right, fine, I get it. But the interesting thing happened, which was. I was basically like, I need to get out of school. Like, this business is thriving here. I wonder what's going to happen.
Can you say how much you were making at the time just on Jello shots?
It was around 400 shots a week at, let's just say, $2. So like maybe $800 a week, which
Nice.
isn't that
No,
much, but you
but
know, I had a
still
chunk of car. It's not bad, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, around $800 a week. And I remember I was really close to graduating. But the problem was that I needed to finish my dissertation in pretty much record timing.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, and just to put in perspective, by the way, the reason that I love these things so much was because I was spending 16 to 20 hours a day, every single day in the lab. And that includes
a
day, 16
Wow.
to 20 hours a day. It was insane. To the point where when I was telling my committee, like how hard I'm working, they're like, so you're telling me if I show up here at 1 a.m., 3 a.m., that you're going to be here? I said, yeah, you'll see me every single
Wow.
day. And I remember one of my
So
professors...
from almost dropout to PhD student, chemist, that's pretty impressive.
In record timing. So total time for master's PhD was 3 years. And it was 1 year master's and 1.5 years,
Okay.
2 years PhD. And the thing was, like, once again, I'm not a very smart person.
You are, though.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It just, when you got to figure things out,
Sure.
you do what you have to do.
Sure.
And the one thing that I realized very early on was that I'm not smarter than any single person in grad school, but the only thing that I can do is outwork them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can outwork them to an amount that's actually sickening.
Mm-hmm.
And only by reverse engineering what they were doing and what they were not doing, how much quicker I can graduate. And those were the benefits of having like those Jello shots. Like, I mean, I'm the inventor of them, so I had my stash. I'm just sitting there like, taking...
How many a day?
Whoa, probably 6 minimum.
6?
Yeah. But I mean, 16 to 20 hours a day,
Yeah.
like...
That's not too bad. That's what, 11 cups of coffee, 12 cups of coffee?
Yeah.
In an Italian household, that's nothing.
Why, what do you usually take?
Oh, I mean, I'll do 4 to... I would probably do 3 doubles of espresso.
Oh, God damn.
Yeah, or 4 doubles depending on the day. Espressos, yeah.
Oh, shit. So you're definitely wired throughout the day, no matter
for sure.
what.
I'm always on.
Dude, I got to make some just to give you some of the shots.
100%.
Just so you could feel it. I should have brought them. Damn it. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
All good.
But, yeah, so that was kind of crazy. And, I was putting in 16 to 20 hours a day. As soon as every single person left the lab, I would use 5 HPLC machines, which is what I needed to actually figure out the compounds. And
Is it like a magnifying glass?
it's like a machine, and what it does is it separates these secondary metabolites, which are responsible for these the bioactivity of the plant.
You're smart, yeah.
Nah, dude, this is just what they trained me to say. So, so I was like, all right, all I have to do is just work so much longer and so much harder than them, and use 5 machines because they're leaving at 5 p.m. They're leaving at 4 p.m. They're not showing up on weekends.
Yeah.
So if I just use 5 machines when they're not there from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., to me it was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing 5 times the amount of research when everyone else is sleeping, or they're like, oh, work-life balance.
There is none of that.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
Can't. And I just knew that the only advantage I had was outworking them.
Speed.
That's the only thing. Yeah,
Speed.
absolutely. And then the best part was every time we had a meeting with the professor, he's like, oh, everyone show me your results. They're like, oh, nothing changed since last week. I'm like, yo.
I'm 6 months ahead.
Yeah. Oh, minimum. And it was just mind-blowing to see, someone that I always considered myself the underdog. And, was just very happy
Just
to
outwork them.
Yeah, that's it. So literally that's it.
That's it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do it.
You don't think so? I feel like it's something natural. I feel like everyone can, they just don't want to.
Depending on the field, I think. You got to find your genius. And then
Well, what was your aha moment?
with this company,
Yeah.
my aha moment was realizing that you're able to help scale up other companies.
Okay. Yeah.
That was like the aha moment.
Yeah.
Because what happens is like in the marketing company, a lot of I'm going to get flack for saying this, but there's a lot of business owners that are, let's say, older.
Yeah.
And they're not familiar with what's behind you and how they operate.
Absolutely.
So that's like kind of like the aha moment where like, okay, you guys did the heavy lifting for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
We're entering a new world, a digital world, and let's show you how to actually get some real estate in that digital world.
Yeah.
So that was like the aha moment.
And like when you were trying to scale for them, like did they give you the pushback? Because I just know
Pushback.
they don't
for sure.
understand it.
They have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
They have no clue.
And-
Until you show them.
Yeah.
So you have to win their trust over first before you sell the product. Because once they trust you, then they'll trust your judgment. That's the biggest thing.
But what about the challenges that you're not only you're selling them on your service, but you're also selling them on a completely new concept that's completely foreign
Sure.
to them. So how do you overcome that?
Results.
Okay.
Yeah, just showing results,
Yeah.
and explaining, different case studies, explained stats and case studies are the best in that
Yeah.
situation. Showing them what could be in the future.
Yeah.
If they're looking to grow it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of, and we're in that kind of time period now where there's a lot of mom and pop shops either going to be bought out or just dissolved.
Yeah.
So whoever's taking over that company, or if that owner still has the energy to keep scaling,
Yeah.
we want to deal with those companies and those businesses for sure.
Absolutely.
So that was the aha moment. And there's different fields that I like to sell to, restaurants being one, and I love working with financial advisors.
Okay. Why those two?
Why? Their passions, honestly.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
do like the financial aspect side. A lot of those owners get what I'm talking about. Because when we're running ad campaigns using the terms KPI, and that relates to investment strategies too. So key performance indicators.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to sell the product too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting because I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah,
so
the ad
that's awesome.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ads. And also too, like margins. Margins matter in marketing.
Yeah.
So if your margins are 20%, it's gonna be very hard for us to set aside 15,000, run an ad campaign, and get the benefit. A lot of the times too is, well, if we get a lead flow, and the lead flow is people signing up for more information.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, certain companies they can't sell.
Yeah.
They rely on referrals, and they've been doing this for 20 years, so
That's just
they
how
don't know
it
how to
is.
sell the product again.
Yeah.
For a lot of financial advisors, they know how to keep selling because they sold themselves their whole entire career.
I see.
Yes, you get referrals and whatnot, but
Yeah.
how do I meet Eddie on the street and show him I this is what I do? I have a financial advising background, and how do I trust you to give me your money, basically.
Absolutely.
So working with those industries are, in my opinion, great.
Yeah.
So that's our bread and butter.
And that was like for you, you're like, okay, I see that it worked. It worked again. It worked again. So it was just like consistently working for you. So you're like, this is it for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's different pillars to my company. So like the marketing company, we have this podcast studio. So podcasting is just one pillar
Okay.
to this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
So this aha moment was, this is the best networking tool ever imaginable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm done with networking events. They're a waste of time. Not always a waste of time, but it's better for me to meet someone out and about like we're doing right now. I met you out at dinner. I heard you talk for like 5 seconds behind me. I'm like, who's this guy? So I'm like, we got to come do a podcast. So I realized that the podcasting side for companies, even if you're small, mid-size, or large, do a podcast, invite guests on, connect with them on a conversational level, because now it's all Zoom and emails and stuff.
Absolutely.
There's no more, lunch meetings and things of that nature. So this was another aha moment. So we'll rent this out to people, and not really rent it out where it's like an hourly kind of ordeal. More so, you come in and let's say you're a realtor. You shoot your content, we'll edit everything, we'll film it for you, and we'll post it for you.
Okay.
So it's a one-stop shop.
Shit.
So there's also a market for that as well. Because everyone wants to do a podcast, but it costs a fortune.
Absolutely.
So if you bundle it, it's a lot cheaper.
And like when you're doing this or like bundling it up and you're
Mm-hmm.
networking and you're creating these like, opportunities for these people, is there like something that maybe you just wanted to kind of take a step back? You're like, all right, this isn't the direction I want to go. Because
For the client?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you learn from those, or is it just like business dependent?
That's a good question. It really depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the company. It depends if someone's like a good conversationalist or if they're not.
Yeah.
So it really depends.
What about business direction? Their strategy being different than yours.
Usually we're aligned because our strategy is to grow it.
Okay.
But it's a good question. It really, again, it really depends on the client and the customer, and that's why like I like to niche down with certain industries because like I know them inside and out.
Yeah.
So I kind of know like the direction to take them.
Okay.
If I get someone that sells, we had one lead that came in, one prospect, and they were doing hydraulic pumps for heavy machinery. He's doing all these like rental equipment. I know very little about that business.
Yeah.
So will we take him on as a client? Potentially, but I have to learn about that industry before we really do a deep dive into it. Yeah. So to answer your question, it really depends.
Holy crap. So you're not necessarily set on just those two industries. You'll expand outside of it, but you actually have to do the homework too to understand like the pain points. And
so some industries are a little bit different, like so email and text marketing campaigns. That's universal to everybody.
Okay. So
we could plug that in for a product or a service. But as for like getting customers for an industry, like we really have to sit down and work backwards on how we're getting this customer.
So for your customers and building that up, understanding their pain points, it's going to be different. So
for everybody.
So how do you kind of like tailor it? Say, you probably have like 2 to 3 of the same company. Mm-hmm. How do you make their message different, or is it location based? Like, because marketing strategy is
it's huge.
It really is. So how do you do that?
Experience.
Okay.
Like
I
I could kind of walk into a company now and like see how they're operating.
Yeah.
And like kind of figure out the pain points right away.
Okay.
But that's like a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Where like what we offer at CNG, it's usually going to help any kind of business out there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like not like a one size fits all, but we'll customize it to make it a one size fits all for that industry.
Yeah.
And usually it plays out great.
And if I remember correctly, you're 27, right?
27, yeah.
So when did you start, and when did you start seeing the success?
Started 3 years ago.
No way.
A year into it, we really started doing well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and was this like a COVID thing?
COVID, yeah.
Yeah, that's what started it all.
This, because I knew this was this was a closet. This whole studio here,
which is crazy.
And then I knew COVID, and I have a commercial real estate background, so I kind of contacted the property management company. I'm like, all right, let's make a deal on this, because I knew all the price per square foot was going just downhill. So
that's awesome.
We made a deal here, and then that was it.
That's sick.
I didn't know what I was going to do with it at first. As soon as we signed the lease, I'm like, all right, there's a podcast studio. Let's figure it out.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah. Jump and then what is it? Jump and build.
Fire and aim.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what I do.
Dude, I mess up all cliche sayings, so
I always do too.
Left field.
I don't even try them anymore.
I should probably start doing that. I should just be like.
But So like we're a full service digital marketing company, soup to nuts. But at the same time, like we'll know what certain companies need.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. Like within a 1 hour meeting,
that's awesome.
Sit down, like we'll kind of create a structure.
Yeah.
And go from there.
That's awesome though, especially because you saw that there was a need for it. But why restaurants and financial advisors prior to your expertise?
So restaurants because of the foot traffic.
Okay.
Yeah. So foot traffic is huge. A lot of restaurants, they don't collect their data, and data is so big.
Oh, of course.
So like the POS systems, when you swipe your credit card, your data is going in there, your phone number, your email is always attached to it.
Absolutely.
So showing the restaurants how to do text message marketing as well as email marketing, just that is a great start.
And they didn't have any of this like implemented, nothing. That's awesome.
These restaurants don't. No.
Yep. That's
usually
awesome.
They don't. Excuse me, but then the next step is running ads.
Yeah.
Is then creating content with your food or your bar with the staff, and then running ads and running traffic to your website and to your restaurant. Yeah.
And what about like Seamless, Grubhub? Do you feel that those have been kind of like impeding your success for foot traffic into the restaurants? Or has it helped?
That's a great question. Depending on the restaurant, if you have no parking, let's do a bunch of takeout marketing.
Okay.
Let's bring it to the customer.
And you would partner with like one of the platforms or
not really partner.
or like advertise them?
Because they market themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not like we have to like add on to it.
Absolutely.
It's more of like, how do we keep this restaurant in front of everybody? Is it different like specials? Is it different content? Like little tip for like a pizzeria. If you're not busy on a Monday, do a Monday marketing text.
Yeah.
And say, hey guys, if you're too busy to cook tonight, order here and have that link. So we could do awesome. Menus for restaurants where you could check out actually on the website.
Yeah.
And then have the order submit. So stuff like that for sure.
And all of that is really just contributing to them seeing like the results and basically saying like, okay, this is working, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And of course, the most important question is, what about failures? Like, what are the failures that you've seen from that?
Nobody showing up.
Really?
Yeah. Well, and not no one showing up, but like we have to. It's got to make money. Like if we're going to spend all this money on text and email marketing, we need to see some ROI.
Of course.
But sometimes a break even's fine.
Yeah.
Because for a restaurant, if the customer comes once a month and then we change it from that customer comes 3 times a month.
Yeah.
It's a huge revenue boost.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we look at stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Damn.
So the KPIs, yeah.
Yeah. But it's good that you're data driven, dude. So many people don't even look at data. They don't care about the numbers.
They have to.
They're just like, oh, I just hope my revenue grows. It's like, but if you're spending X amount on marketing, you need to understand like
that's all these e-commerce guys. Like I made $125,000 this month. Yeah, you spent $110,000 on ads.
Yep, yeah. Absolutely.
So
that's so funny.
Yeah, so every industry is different, but I like to work with financial advisors because the marketing, it's pretty much for us, it's cookie cutter because we know the steps to take to create a successful campaign.
Yeah.
So any financial advisors listening, Google LSA is a unbelievable tool to use.
I don't even know what that is.
Google local service ads.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically it's a Google guaranteed program where your GMB is marketed. So if I'm in Hawthorne, I type in financial advisor near me.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance you're going to be the top one at the list.
Yeah.
And if the person calls you, they call right to the office.
Yeah.
If that lead doesn't qualify, you get reimbursed from Google.
Oh, no way. Okay.
So, like, a lot of financial advisors don't know that.
Yeah. I didn't even know that.
No. So us going out there explaining that, they think we're geniuses.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing, but we're not geniuses.
Yeah.
You just got to keep up with tech because technology is always changing. There's different regulations. There's different rules that come out. And you got to keep up with that.
Of course.
So.
And what about there was a recent shift from Google Analytics. What was it called? Like UA4 or something like that, or
so all the iPhones, the iOSs, they're changing all the terms and conditions. So how you advertise is changing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so you got to keep up with that.
Yeah,
and then the best way is to see how like the campaigns are performing.
Of course. And
then if it's really dying down, you got to do your analysis to see why is it dying down? Is it because it's our copy? Is it because it's the creative, or is it because of the new tech that's or the regulations that are coming out?
Absolutely.
And you just go from there.
And all the privacy concerns are still probably making it even more difficult for you guys, right?
100%.
Yeah.
The pixel tracking is a lot different.
Yeah.
So marketing 10 years ago was easier.
Yeah.
And you could always you could track the person that checks out. If they're buying a skincare line, you could always track them, put the ads in front of them.
Yeah.
But it's changing though for sure. But there's ways around it though.
Yeah, you guys got that. You're like,
there's ways around
easy.
it.
Yeah. Shit, man.
Yep.
So that's awesome though. Like you basically started 3 years ago. Now you are where you are. What about the future?
The future, what I like about the marketing company is, and the key the thought I had starting it was, and as you know too, a lot of companies, especially small businesses, they don't make much money.
Yeah.
Or if they either break even or they lose money.
Absolutely.
It's a good way to figure out who's making money.
Yeah.
And then eventually partnering with them. Because if you're able to help them grow, then the conversation opens up to like, okay, well, let's see if we could partner up in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
So it's like a private equity kind of stance to it too.
But that's the awesome part. It's like it always starts with like one simple conversation, proof of concept,
exactly.
And then it grows. So, dude, absolutely, man.
And that's why instead of like buying a company, if you could find an older owner that is still willing to do the work and partner with them, and then drive the revenue.
Absolutely.
Keep driving the revenue. That's it.
Absolutely. So you guys have the game plan. You guys have the strategy. You guys have pretty much all figured out. It's awesome.
It's all self-taught too.
Yeah.
Just sitting on YouTube. Christ. People understand too. Like YouTube has a lot of information.
Absolutely, dude. Like I don't even know what. I'll probably get canceled for this, but school, I don't.
You don't need it.
I didn't learn shit in school.
No,
I did not learn shit
you don't
in
need
school. Everything that I've learned has been from books, from, now AI, dude. It's completely
insane.
Yeah. The things that used to take me like weeks to do, I do in seconds. I'm like, all right, like now what?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah,
And that's all right. Times are changing. You got to keep up with the times.
and it's so sad that people don't even understand the power of these tools yet, and it's transforming every business.
It's going to get wild.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it already is. Yeah.
It already
Yeah.
is.
Everything.
Look at the ports.
Oh, dude.
Does that affect you?
We're about to find out, right? The
Yeah.
hard way. So right now we're just air shipping everything, but I'm sure when we do bring things in through cargo, if this doesn't end, it's
gonna be a problem.
You think it's gonna be lasting for a while, or what do you think?
We did a podcast yesterday. My prediction was hopefully by this weekend they'll have a deal.
That soon?
I'm trying to be optimistic, but if it goes another week, another 3 weeks total, that's going to be
Like completely messed up.
Armageddon.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a while to build up that momentum again.
I heard the president
$7 billion a day.
I heard the president though can mandate some type of
He could
order.
step in,
Yeah,
but he's not going to step in.
Typical.
Yeah, he's
Typical.
not going to step in.
Perfect.
But I don't want to take the podcast to a crazy side of things.
Sorry
but
about that. Yeah.
No, it's not you. I'm about to take it there. What's going on right now is crazy.
Oh, the world.
Like Ukraine's still going on, and that's more scary to me right now than Israel.
Yeah.
Because there's 30,000 troops dying a month. Ukrainian troops. That's KIA.
I didn't even know that actually.
No one's reporting that.
Yeah.
You ever see the All In podcast?
No.
Start watching the All In podcast with
Is that
Chamath.
with Chamath? Yeah.
So good, dude.
Yeah.
And they were reporting this, and it's scary because Ukraine's. They're saying 3 to 6 months until they fall.
Yeah.
Or we have to step in. If we step in, then China's going to back Iran, and then it's going to be a whole problem. But
do you think World War III is like? I think
we're
we're
right there.
Yeah,
we're right there.
Yeah.
We're close.
Yeah,
we can't be any more close.
Yeah.
So it's going to be scary because we're business owners. I'm digital, so it's a little bit different. I'm not shipping in, I guess SD cards and stuff. But other than that, we're digital. But for you, you're not brick and mortar, but you have your own facility of product, and
absolutely.
So it's going to affect everything.
Of course, and that's going to be shipping. Oil prices, everything. During the pandemic, the price of ingredients, because shipping was just a complete mess.
Yeah.
But the price of ingredients was up 500%.
Wow.
And then I tried to raise my prices 20%, and dude, end of the world. And everyone's like, you can't do this to us, and I'm like, dude, the main ingredient is 500% increase. They're just like, that's a you problem. I'm like,
so you're B2C, right?
We're internationally distributed in over 32 countries. We're selling B2C on our website and a few other affiliates, but also B2B through doctors, derms. Yeah. Yep.
So that something's going to get affected for sure eventually.
Absolutely.
So it's just scary. We just need peace. Someone's got to sign a peace treaty and end this.
I don't know what I mean.
We want it.
I think everyone does.
No, America wants the wars. They want it.
Oh, wait, you think so?
Yeah.
Like money grab or?
Yeah, it's all money.
Yeah.
We're funding both sides.
Yeah.
So Zelensky, when he ran to be president of Ukraine, first of all, he has an actor's background.
Yeah.
But he ran solely on the fact that if I'm elected, we're going back to Russia. It was an 80-20 split, I believe, or a 70-30, where the majority of Ukrainians wanted to go back to Russia.
No way.
So when he gets elected, he reneges and doesn't go back.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
And no one knows why he didn't go back.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we didn't want him to go back. We
Okay.
want this. We want this to go on.
Is that why the weapons are being supplied and the backing?
All that.
Yeah,
of course.
See, I don't know anything about that.
We just
at all.
sent another $8 billion over there, and then look at Israel.
Yep.
You have Kamala Harris saying, "Don't."
Yeah.
What's your response if Iran don't?
Yeah.
They just did 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So now what?
Yeah,
now they're going to
absolutely.
see. So anyway, it's just crazy. I just hope it doesn't hit a crazy point, but I mean, we can't get any closer.
Well, I think that's kind of the sad part too, where there's all these things going on in the world, and I don't want to say that I'm a overly optimistic person, but I feel that once you start focusing on negativity, dude, it just engulfs you.
Yeah,
it really does.
100%.
And I'm just like, I don't want to say. I also don't want to say I'm paranoid, but at the same time, the ballistic missiles, nuclear weapons, all this stuff going on. You're like, So is it a matter of time? Like, you know, what am I doing?
Nuclear weapons, though, it's like, yes, it's something to talk about, but like it's just game over for everybody.
Yeah.
Do we want that for everybody? Just game over?
Well, even if we don't, do they?
Yeah.
Do they care?
It's crazy.
You know? Yeah.
But you're right though. Like being how busy we are, like it's just I try to stay away from it.
Yeah.
But it gets harder and harder because of what's going on.
Yeah. And then also like when you're around your family and they're like freaking out and I'm like, I don't
I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't help you guys.
I gotta go back to the office.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because just like so much like external pressure on issues and you're like, shit, if this does happen, how am I going to, like, what's my strategy going to be?
Yeah.
How am I going to make sure that we're still up and running, things are good, prices to consumers.
How many employees are you up to now?
14.
14
employees.
That's full time?
Yeah, full time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we actually we're mostly production, but we have 3 office people, I guess. Me, Christine, she's been with us for 18 years, and then Nella's our new office admin. So
and then who's selling the product? Like who's going out there to sell to doctors and
online, man?
All online.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have doctors coming in online.
Yeah.
To ask more information, and you guys are selling from there.
Literally just through advertising, word of mouth.
That's awesome.
I mean, we have a very good reputation. Thankfully, we're known. So my father, he invented stabilized L-ascorbic acid, stabilized vitamin C.
Oh, wow.
Topically, yeah. So like that's what we're known for.
Cool.
But the only downside is that my dad is a pure scientist, not necessarily a businessman. And that was like, you're saying like a very old school mentality, brilliant scientist, you know, world renowned. I will never come close to that, but I will say there was a very good balance of the marketing aspect, the business aspect, which,
what you brought in.
Yeah. And he was kind of like, I don't like how you do things. I don't like this. And I'm like, that, like, it's working. He's like, I don't care. He's like, what about magazines? I was like, dude, I don't even know if magazines exist anymore.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Times change.
Yeah. And I'm like, Dad, there's no analytics on magazines. He's like, but what if people open it and see our ad? I'm like, one person. Like one person, Dad, like it's so funny.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking you all those questions. I'm like, I'm genuinely curious.
That's
how do you overcome those?
Yeah, it's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And even when you showed him the results, still nothing. Is he from here or is he?
So actually, born and raised in Egypt, came here to also do his PhD at URI.
So good luck trying to get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he just sits there and he literally still has like stacks of magazines on his desk and he like loves them. And I'm like, dude. and then, this is the best part. You ask him, what do you do in your free time? And he go, he's on his phone. He's on his iPad. I'm like, okay, you are the same way that every single person is. Yeah. They're not going to magazines to look at ads.
Sure.
And he's like, but I do. I'm like, no, you don't. You're still on Facebook. You just don't know it's an ad, Dad. Like it's wild.
See, that's a whole different scenario because I would just walk away from the situation. But being your dad, you have to show him the way.
Yeah.
So you took the company to a whole different level.
Absolutely. It was wild. First meeting with the staff, I had to get everybody into a meeting and I said, we can't make payroll this week. And
that's a hard conversation.
Everyone's first meeting, first pretty much week on the quote unquote job. I was still the lowest one in the company. And that was like my task. My dad's like, all right, like tell them. And and my dad doesn't like confrontation. My dad is like honestly the nicest guy. Would give you the shirt off his back. And he did not want to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So I sit there, call everyone into the office, and I was like,
did everyone know you at the time?
Yeah. They knew me. It was and I'm trying to think back. We were, I think we had 5 people at the time total. So
and you're just out of college?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard conversation.
But so my supplement company at the time was on the up and up though. And so like I saw that, we were doing well. It was my dad's company that wasn't, and it was because one, he didn't know how to ask for people for payments. That he's very like, just pay me when you can. That's AKA never, Dad.
Cash flow problem.
Yeah. So that was the first issue. The second one was advertising. We're spending a ton of money with 0 results.
Yeah.
And the third one is that we're still paying prices for things that, we can get at a much better price with much better quality. But my dad doesn't like to shop around. He's like, oh, I've known this guy for 20 years. And I was like,
he's loyal.
Yeah, and which is amazing, but not when the company's failing.
Yeah.
So he ends up going into like a coma for 2 weeks. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's when he woke up from it, he basically sat me down. He's like, look, I need help running my company. And it was one of those things like, he's a very proud Middle Easterner. You know, he doesn't want to ask for help. He doesn't.
I love it.
It was only right. You know, he's like, look, I just need help. I was like, all right, like, you know, I'm here. And that's when I'm like, I don't know shit about skincare. I don't know shit about this industry at all. Let me see what I can do. I was very naive though. So the supplement company, we were in GNC at the time. We were going into international distribution. We were also distributed for through this company Europa, and they were in 40,000 like nutritional shops. So
wow,
everything was going like well. We were on the up and up. And once again, I wouldn't say it was perfect, but it was. We saw the results.
You saw growth, yeah.
And I was like, all right, like how do I do that in skincare? We're not distributed. It's through doctors. Like, what do I do? And my dad actually had a very primitive website, and the e-commerce actually was operating through Hong Kong. And I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, this is not how companies run. So that in itself was a battle. I had to learn coding. I had to learn how to build a website. I had to learn.
So you learned all that?
Yeah. All self-taught. Once again, 16 to 20 hours a day, every single 7 days a week in the office. Built the first, and by the way, it was such a piece of shit website. But I was so happy. I was like, guys, like,
we have it.
Yeah,
It's
like,
done.
This is it. Guys, like, we made it. And I just remember everyone's looking at it. They're like, it's better than what we had, which I don't know if it's a compliment now that now that I look back. Like, shit, okay. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. But, you know, we were getting 4 orders a month on our website.
That's it.
What do you mean that? Dude, that was... We made it.
Oh, really?
We were so
We're
happy.
popping bottles.
Yeah, dude, we were ecstatic. We're like, all right, like we're onto something.
Yeah.
And because also people would call us and like, oh, I'd like to order online. I'd like to order online. We're like, you could, and then people don't get their orders because Hong Kong's not processing. It was a complete mess.
So it was coming from Hong Kong?
Actually, no. The orders were going to Hong Kong, and then Hong Kong would email us to ship out the orders. But it was like 3 days delayed.
And you guys are the fulfillment center.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But we were manufacturing and fulfilling, but like it just made no sense. But my dad didn't really know how to structure all that, and you know, the internet just wasn't his thing. So
yeah.
So once we started getting the 4 orders, I was like, all right, like I want to make sure that we scale, but we have no money. What do I do? And first thing I did was
pick up the phone.
Well, pick up the internet because I went on Upwork, and I found a guy in India to do our SEO and our Google ads, and we went from like, and it's crazy. I actually have Am I allowed to pull out my phone?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We can do whatever we want here. We could.
Oh, okay, cool.
Other than light this place on fire.
I would never. But you know, I'll show you. It's pretty crazy. The I have this note on my phone in which every year I keep track of how we did on Black Friday, and you could just you could see it right there. It's crazy. Like every single year.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That is so cool. So the bottom, the Black Friday's on top.
Yeah,
that's a huge increase.
And
that's why you got to give it time, man.
Yeah.
People want it from 2017 to 2019. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting. 2022 or 23 was half of 2022.
It's because so that's why I have the 2 columns, because we actually changed the dates of how I measured it. So 2023 we still did substantially better, but we ran the sale for much longer with less discounts.
Gotcha. That's so cool.
So it was wild, man. Like, you know, and the funny thing is I also have pictures on my phone of every single Black Friday where I put all the orders, like I accumulate them and I take a picture like someplace in our warehouse, and I'm like, wow, like I can't believe we're here.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I never actually thought we would be where we are, honestly, ever.
Well, you did the work.
I had no choice.
You do the work, and then the luck follows after that.
Do you believe that, though?
I think if you go the extra mile, and you keep going the extra mile, eventually, just the law of averages, I think you have to eventually get there.
See, it's
got to be the right industry, though.
I like to be optimistic and say yes, but I'm starting to realize that even if people put in the work, I want to know what the definition of like their work is, because some people are like, oh, I've been trying, and I'm like getting no traction. I'm like, but what are you trying? Like
that, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're trying. Like if you're just learning, that's not trying yet.
Exactly.
You got to put what you learned actually into action.
Yeah.
And that's how you figure it out.
But
that's why I don't like school.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's literally just, these are directions. Follow the directions to get the result. I'm like, that's not life.
That's not life at all.
It will never ever happen that way.
No,
ever.
It never does.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah.
But,
so you get to that point though, where you have that last Black Friday. Like, what's going through your mind?
I mean, let's rewind a little bit. Actually, 2017, we were kind of on the cusp. That was the first year we broke even, and we were negative six figures per year up until 2017. Yeah. And like I said, I took over like 2014. I was like working my way up, quote unquote, through the company, small company, so it's not working your way up, just doing much more than I should have.
Yeah.
2017, we broke even, and that in itself was wild because I'm just like, wow, we're not bankrupt. We can pay our bills. Like,
it's a good feeling.
It is, because even having to tell my landlord, like, we might not be able to make rent. And he'd be like, dude, what the hell's going on? What do you mean you can't make rent? Like,
yeah,
it's $10,000, which at the time, dude, that was
huge.
all we had. Yeah.
Huge.
So we ended up going to a trade show, and we were approached by Alibaba. I'm sure you're familiar with Alibaba. Sure. And one of the reps, her name was Demi, who was amazing. She goes, I need to understand what's going on with your company. I know you guys have been trying to apply to get on our platform. Can you tell me what's going on? I was like, oh, I'd love to. So I explained to her like the story and what we're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And she goes, okay, great. So she's like, I'm going to help you sign up, but you need to pick like an authorized like distributor pretty much.
Yeah.
And we were being approached by two people. One was the #1 seller of skincare products on their platform.
Wow.
And I was hyped. I was like, wow, like these people want us. And I just thought that like we're made. Mm-hmm. So I'm negotiating with them, and they're like, look, I know you're talking to, we had so many other distributors, but the one thing that they wanted was, they basically just wanted crazy margins, and I just didn't feel supported with them. But there was this other guy, and his name's Sean. And Sean and I are like now really close friends, and he was actually here this weekend. But Sean is one of those guys who literally talked to me on the phone for 3 hours, and he's like, look, I want to distribute your product. I'm like, oh, are you on the Alibaba platform? He's like, no, but I could be. I'm like, I don't know if it works that way, man.
Yeah.
But we talked, we had a great conversation. I'm like, all right. So I called Demi. I'm like, Demi, Sean's going to be our distributor.
Found our guy, yeah.
And she's like, who? Eddie, he's not even registered. I was like, yeah, but he said he'll figure it out. She's like, I don't know if you understand like
how this works. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't, which is fine. But this guy believes in the company, and he's very similar to me in age. He understands my vision. The other company was literally just very transactional, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was like a cookie cutter. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, look who we represent. I'm like, congratulations, but I'm a nobody compared to them. Why do you care about us?
Me, yeah.
Yeah, and frankly, they're just like, oh, because we see, that the brand has opportunity.
You made the right decision.
So 2 years later, she calls me and she goes, Eddie, and we were keeping in touch, but she's like, hey, you guys, and this is right during the pandemic or like right after the pandemic, and I'm trying to remember timing, but she's like, you guys just won like #1 skincare product in like this category. It was like anti-inflammatory. Wow. And she's like, that's with Sean, right? I was like, yeah, like we saw Sean. And she goes,
that's awesome.
She goes, I don't know how you made that decision, but like, honestly, I thought you guys, and she told me, she's like, I thought you guys like weren't going to make it another year. And she goes, so for you guys to win that, and we beat out like other major companies, I think #2 was like The Ordinary, and like the other one was like SK2, and I'm trying to remember because we had it 2 years in a row, and it was just like the greatest feeling. And I was like, wow, like we're making huge strides in the industry, and that's when I started putting like a lot of the pieces together. I'm like, all right, this is exactly what needs to happen. You find people that you trust, you partner with them, and make sure it's win-win. Exactly.
Speed from there.
Yeah, and there's no looking back. And I'm so thankful that what seemed like a horrible decision in everyone else's mind, they're just like
turned out to be the best decision.
Yeah, and honestly, like I really look up to this guy in so many different like areas, because he just turned, I think, 39 or 40. I'm like, 37 now. I respect this guy because he's making things happen. He knows how to get in touch with the people that if he couldn't do it, someone else will. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to learn from this guy.
So
And I love
same
that.
thing with like when we pitch our our clients.
Yep.
You gotta like them.
Yep.
From the first meeting. If we get along,
Yeah.
we'll do some great things together. So same thing in your situation.
But like for you, how do you kind of assess whether it's going to be the right fit?
Experience.
But what about when you didn't
experience.
have experience then?
Fall on your face.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Get right
That's
back
it.
up.
Same thing. I'm
Yep.
sure you're the
Yep.
same situation.
We don't have a choice.
You don't have a
Absolutely.
choice. So
Absolutely.
Sean's still with you guys today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was wild. He just brought an influencer over from China. We did like a 2-day factory tour. It was a 1 full day factory tour technically. We had dinner. We did like some streaming, and it was just such a great experience.
Awesome.
And yeah, like honestly, it was one of those things where
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable in those types of scenarios. Like even this is I'm completely new, but I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this is such a great experience regardless. But
Yeah.
those are the things that, you gotta trust the process. That's it.
100%.
And try it. You fail, you fail. It's all
So you guys are running ads at the time. You're doing you get the guy from Upwork and he's crushing the SEO.
Yeah.
Then you guys get Sean for distribution.
Yeah.
How much did you guys grow in that period?
So-
dude.
good. Dude, thank you so
Congratulations,
much,
man.
Thank you.
So that's
Appreciate
from
it.
2017 till now.
Yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable.
We've been at least doubling and tripling pretty much every single year.
So
which
what's the
is
next step
wild.
now? Keep doing what you're doing or add a new...
I'm actually at a crossroads because we're always being approached by VCs like almost
Yeah.
every day. Everyone wants to acquire us, and I love what I do. I love showing up to work. I love being there Saturday and Sunday.
And it's too early to even have that conversation yet.
Yeah, and
It's still a baby. It's 2017.
yeah. Well, so the company was actually started in
With your dad.
Yeah, yeah.
But from when you took it over till now, it's still a baby.
Yeah, but the one constraint that I have that I'm trying to learn is how to hire people in pretty much like, C-level.
C-suite.
Yeah, C-suite. It's really difficult to
hard.
find the right people. And finding the right people who have the experience of a small company, not mid-size. We tried hiring people from large companies, and they'd come in, and I'm like...
That corporate mentality, and it doesn't grow a business.
Yeah.
You can see that with a lot of companies now. You could fire half the amount of people and still get the same work done.
Yeah, you saw Elon
Even
Musk.
Elon, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing,
That's-
same concept.
Yep. But it's such a hard thing because, once again, like, I don't want to say that I know someone's job better than them. Like, I want to hire smart people so they could teach me, or they can just take the lead and take
100%.
some off my plate. And it's just hard to find the right people.
You'll eventually find them. I mean, every company has churn at the end of the day, but you'll find them.
Yep.
It just takes time.
It just, most of the people that have worked with us, they've been there, like I said, we have Christine for 18 years. I think this 19 years coming up. We have Maria, 8 years. We really try to keep, like, every single person. I've probably fired, like, maybe 2 to 3 people in, like, my
That's
lifetime.
great.
Yeah, because,
Churn's hard because you got to train the person. You got to see if it fits. And if that person doesn't fit, you got to train another person.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of time.
And all the skills can be learned. Like,
Yeah.
I will never ever tell someone, like, and I will also encourage, like, look, if you want to learn on company time, you just want to sit at your computer, you want to fuck around, you want to do whatever, as long as the work gets done and you're able to grow and challenge yourself, like, that's all I care about.
Perfect.
That's
all you could ask for.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
at the end of the day, too, like, and I know it, no one's going to care about your business more than you.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's the whole, like, give and take aspect to it.
And it's so sad, though, because I think at the end of the day, people should kind of, like, if the business grows and the business benefits, everyone will benefit. But if they don't care, it's like, well, of course the business isn't going to care about you, like, in return. It should, like, what is it? One hand.
We're doing it again.
Yeah. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. But, like, that's how it is, you know?
100%. So I got your pain points too, like, throughout the whole entire way. What do you think the next problems are going to happen as you guys keep growing and scaling?
Wow. Problems.
I mean, there's stuff that we can't control, like we talked about, the world and politics and
I think it's competition.
competition.
There's
it's a hard
always-
space.
Yeah. Everyone has a new brand coming out, and I think I don't want to say that, obviously I'm biased, I'll say that I think we're the best, but I think that there's so many companies. Let's just take Liquid Death. I think they are the greatest example of success. What they're selling water
in a can.
Yeah,
It's
you know
crazy.
what I mean? $700 billion valuation.
It's crazy.
Like for me to be so ignorant to believe that someone like Liquid Death won't do skincare is, it just.
You're right. You're smart. Yeah.
Yeah, and to kind of be aware of that, something that we're about to try, which is very interesting, and we'll probably release it soon. Maybe is we're taking a new approach to marketing, and we're going to integrate our brand into a show, but like our own show. So we're taking like the concept of Breaking Bad, and we're making our own show, but integrating our brand, so it'll be like as if it's drugs, but it'll actually be about skincare. So
oh wow, that's interesting.
So skincare. We'll talk about ingredients, so like the purity of ingredients, the efficacy of the products, but tying it into to make it seem that it's like this, and technically it is, because ingredients are they vary so much.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about these things, like
You have to.
yeah, like the difference between the vitamin C molecules. So we want to educate people, but in a show that's like they're going to gravitate towards and
Well,
want
it's
to know.
consumable.
Yeah, yeah,
You got to keep their attention.
absolutely.
That was your idea?
Yeah, yeah.
That's smart.
Well, if we can execute it.
If you could, yeah. So it's going to be posted on YouTube or
Yeah,
YouTube?
YouTube, TikTok. So we'll do the snippets. We're gonna do trailers for each season.
Nice.
So
Nice.
It's gonna be wild. But it's more of, okay, well, what can we do differently
Yeah.
than every single other person? Because everyone's they
yeah.
show a nice face.
The
they splash
influencer
water.
model.
Yeah.
Have you seen the influencer model? I'm sure it's definitely a success for certain influencers, but have you seen good traction with hiring an influencer with your product?
Man, you want to get into a good story?
Yeah.
I have a blog called a blog post. It's called how to find a finfluencer.
What's that?
A fake influencer.
Yeah.
And we actually experienced that. We had a PR company, and their task was to hire influencers to post about our products.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, analytics, data is everything. That's all I care about. And our agreement with this one influencer in particular was that she needs to screenshot her analytics, and she needs
send
to exactly within 24 hours. So she sent it, and there's data, by the way, about click-throughs, about
Everything.
stories. Yeah, there's data about everything. So this one influencer, she sent us the her data. I'm like, this is weird.
Something's off.
She had like 60,000 views, but no one, like, there was literally like maybe 30 to 40 actual like forwards. So you have 60,000 views and like 30 to 40 people who actually like click forward.
Bots.
There you go. And so now I'm like, okay, there's something wrong here. Send us the next one. Send us the next story. And she's sending us this. I'm like, okay, the data should be that there's like an 8% drop off, or something like that.
Sure.
And the amount of people who click through is like 70 or 80%. I'm trying to remember the data off the top of my head. But I'm like, this is all fake. And then there's websites out there that track people's followers, like, the increase, the decrease.
Yeah.
So of course I paid for the account and I got all that data.
Which one did you use?
I have to go back and remember. It's been a while. Starts with an H. That's all I remember.
And they need to have a public account too, right?
Yeah. Well, influencer. She had
Yeah.
550,000 followers.
Public, yeah.
And she was losing like 1,000 followers a day. And I'm like, and then like all of a sudden she'd gain like 5,000. I'm like, how did you didn't post anything?
It's all bot based.
Yeah. And she would post like a picture of like her towels, and she'd get like 12,000 likes. And I'm like, 12,000 likes of your towels? No, like even Kim Kardashian, couldn't do that.
No way.
So I composed like this blog post, and I told the PR company, I'm like, I refuse to pay her because this data is fake. And the PR company themselves and even the influencer, they're saying like, no, I just don't want to pay. I'm like, money isn't the issue right now. It's that this data is not, like, it's not adding up.
And that's where it gets a little bit slimy too, because a PR company could be in bed with that influencer and also doing all that stuff.
And so that was the funny part. I'm trying to remember, but they're like, oh, we've met her before. I'm like, that has nothing to do with her data.
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, congratulations, you met her, but what does that say about the actual analytics? What I'm seeing is not, and by the way, so one of my friends, he's a very famous photographer, and I was like, dude, do me a favor, post your stories and send me your data. it's very important. I told them why.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why does his match? Hers doesn't. And then you can do it on any size account, and the data is very, very similar.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, guys, like, figure it out. Her attorney ends up sending me basically a letter saying, like, if we don't pay, that they're going to take me to court, whatever.
Bring it on.
And I go, no problem. And so at that time, I hadn't posted the actual blog post. So I posted it, and and I have, like, the IP tracker. And I was like, oh, saw that she saw it, saw that her attorney saw it, and literally they just disappeared. I'm like, but I blocked out her name. I blocked out all the stuff. I'm like, if you actually want to take this to court, no problem.
How do they see the blog? Like, where do they know that you were posting it to?
I saw that they saw my story.
You posted it.
Yeah,
and then, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, and I was just like, that was like one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, I think it was like $3,200 or something like that.
It's for her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, if you're going to take me to court for $3,200, just make sure your data's legit.
Yeah.
Because I have no problem, like, did I want to do it? No. Did we have
no one wants to do it.
Exactly. Did we have the money for it? Hell no.
Yeah.
But, for me, it's about principle.
100%.
And that's why.
That is key.
Yeah.
Things that get tracked, that get measured, grow.
Absolutely.
It's simple as that. So that's why, like, when we deal with restaurants, that's the hardest thing with a restaurant is the tracking capability.
Yeah.
But if you could kind of gauge and see traffic, you could kind of come up with a certain calculation on, if your Monday takeouts are higher than you just showed me. If the Monday takeouts are higher than average, then we'll know, all right, the text is working, the email is working.
Yeah.
So
do you guys go through like open rates and stuff as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like for like financial advisors, your lead magnet when like someone submits a form, they're sent to a YouTube, and that link is tracked, so I can see who's viewing.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I'll know who's clicking through, and we'll keep track of that.
And how do you guys like keep track of who converted, who didn't?
Great question. Yeah. So usually either by hand, because sometimes it's not as many. It's not like hundreds of people, so we'll just track it manually. Yeah. But there's some software out there you could track it.
Okay.
Like you see Cometly. Cometly is a cool little software.
Cometly? Cometly?
I think it's Cometly.
I'm not sure.
I think it's Cometly. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check that out.
They track all that, which is pretty cool.
What about like Google Forms or anything? Can you integrate that, or doesn't?
Google Forms, I don't really use that much. It's either our own landing page or Facebook Forms. Okay. Because our integration with Facebook Forms are great. Yeah. It's seamless.
Shopify, or do you guys use WooCommerce or
WordPress? If we're dealing with an e-commerce brand, like a product brand, mostly we just do like services. Okay. So not many products, but I do like Shopify.
Okay. Yeah.
Same. What's your take on Shopify? You like them? The connections that you can make are insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the app connections. Yeah. So cool.
That.
Are you guys a Shopify website?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
And so we were on WooCommerce / WordPress, whatever. And then we integrated into Shopify, and dude, just like everything is just so simple. Seamless. We have the Shopify Plus too. We just got like, I think last year.
And you're running your ads to the website?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's like, I like Facebook Forms for service-based industries because how quick it is. Yeah. If your landing page takes 5 seconds to load, problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
have you guys seen like major drop-offs? Because I see all these metrics about like, drop-offs about loading times and, page speeds. Like you guys have noticed it as well.
Yeah, it's important.
Shit.
Yeah, people's attention, dude, it's not, especially with TikTok. Everyone's got TikTok brain. If I click on an ad and it doesn't load in the first 3 seconds, I'm gone.
Yep.
If I really want it, I'll stay.
Yeah.
But you want them to be wowed by the questions, by what they're being asked, and then guide them through that process.
Well, I'm going to ask you like as far as like attention spans go, right? There was a study done with L'Oreal and Google, and they said that within the first 3 to 6 seconds is when you have to get somebody's attention.
Yeah.
But the question is, what do you think is the drop off after that? And have you guys seen like major drop offs with like, you guys do video ads, I'm assuming, right? So like, what do you think after you have their attention?
Yeah.
How much longer will somebody stay on before?
Great question. Not too. It depends on the video.
Yeah.
So like, you want to add in something that also keeps their attention again.
Yeah.
So that's why like action videos of like you doing something. Keeps the attention.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like walking to your car or doing, if you're driving and doing the video. People are like looking at your seats, what kind of car are you driving? Like you keep their attention that way.
Yeah.
So there's different like ways of keeping that attention.
Yeah.
Podcast ads do extremely well.
Yeah.
So like a clip of you talking about the product,
Yeah.
it does well because people are like, oh, what podcast is this? Who is this guy?
True.
What does he own?
Yeah.
And it keeps the questions going. So it really depends, but if that answers your question, like that's how to keep the attention.
So it's basically like just movements, keeping them kind of curious, I guess.
Keep them curious. Yeah. Like
See.
why am I watching this?
Yeah.
Something like that.
What am I gonna get out of this?
Yeah. Like the old like VSLs don't really work that well.
Yeah.
You got to have something like in the video that keeps their attention.
Yeah. I don't know. I think TikTok has completely even ruined me. Like, dude, within
just keep scrolling,
Yeah,
scrolling.
dude.
Well, that's why too. Like email marketing is huge. Like a company like yours, email marketing is massive.
For us, absolutely. But I think there's one thing that I don't want to say is going to happen or like is happening.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to see even a drop off in that, and people
Little
don't want to
bit, yeah.
read. Yeah.
Yeah, texting is good, but then you
Yeah.
can only do so many texts.
Yeah. Yep.
And the regulations with text, depending on like the scale, is insane.
Yeah. But have you guys noticed the same thing in email marketing where it's like if you have like maybe too much text or even just like educational, it's like you lost them.
Your copy's got to look right.
Yeah.
The font's got to be big with
Yeah.
certain things underlined and certain bold letters. But yeah, you're right. It is dropping off for sure.
I just don't know when. Like, so what do you think is next? I have a theory.
Are you on TikTok Shop?
No. So we registered for one, but we're not actually on it. If that answers.
I think that's the next step because the notifications of apps.
Yeah.
People look at those all the time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I think that's the next route.
Okay.
I think.
So let me ask, like, as far as like my concern with the future of advertising is,
Well, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
What's been your drop off with email so far?
it depends which email, depends like on the
Like
subject.
of course, like over the year, like it went from. What's been your open rate from last year to this year?
We're still around like 1.4%.
Yeah.
It's nothing crazy, but like as far as the conversions, probably 0.5%, quarter to 0.5%.
Yeah. How many is on the email list?
Good question. Last time I checked, like 15-something thousand.
15,000.
Yeah, but I see. It's really interesting because I'm trying to think back. I'm like, wow, I don't even remember what we used to do.
But also to answer your question,
Yeah.
like as I'm thinking about more ideas, YouTube too.
Yep.
YouTube.
YouTube ads or just YouTube the content.
YouTube ads and the content.
Okay. Yep.
Subscribers, in my mind, I hold way higher than a follower.
Yep. Yep.
Especially because that subscriber is getting a notification every time you post.
Yep.
That's important.
Yep. But they have to kind of go in and do that. Like, don't forget to click like notifications or whatever.
Yeah, the alert and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you keep the content fun and cool, which is hard for a lot of companies to actually make great content.
Yep. Yep.
But that's a great avenue if they have the time and the money to spend towards YouTube.
What do you think about personal branding tying into like the actual brand? What do you think is
Like an influencer play?
not necessarily, but like for example, like I'll post on my stories and things like that, and I will garner the attention of just like I'm not an influencer. I only have like 1,700 followers, but I know people will look at what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I post the things that I do at work, my personal time. So how important do you think that's going to start playing into the future of a business?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I think personal branding is great.
Yeah.
But for an ROI standpoint, will they purchase your product because they follow you?
Yeah.
Or are they just fans?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Like, are they just following me because they like my lifestyle and like what I do?
Yeah.
Or are they here to actually purchase
True.
what I have? So for every like your industry, what's the gen, like is it mostly female that are purchasing the B2C?
Yeah.
It's probably mostly guys that are following your lifestyle, the cars and stuff. Maybe
You'd be surprised. It's a good mix.
Is it a mix?
Yeah, like so the guys are typically people I just like meet out and about, know, and then girls kind of just the same way. They see like
Yeah.
I don't even post much, but I post a lot of stories. They get a decent amount of shares, but I think what people actually want to see is when I get to work and I'm posting that, like I'm at work making a product, something like that, they know it's being made fresh. So like I'm tying that into the brand, you know, like a direct correlation.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That for sure is cool. But then again, like me and you, we like to track. So like, how do you track that? That's the whole.
So we actually have a post purchase survey, and people like, it's like, why did you buy this, or like whatever.
Have
it's
you
like,
seen the
Yeah, they're like Eddie Omar, or you know, I want to support the Omar family, things like that.
So people are saying that.
Yeah.
Then you know them or you don't know them.
So it's anonymous.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So maybe for your industry, yeah, for sure. I think that over time, that could definitely play into a bigger play down the road. I just don't know how attention spans are always going all over the place. Like how big can someone grow like their personal brand where it's like, oh, I love following this account, and then for how long do they like following the account until it gets boring? Like Dan Bilzerian had like that 2-year stretch where it's like, oh, Dan Blitz. Then what's he doing now?
Yeah, that's actually a good question.
He's selling a dating course.
Wait, what? No way. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen any of his stuff in a minute.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you spend all that time with a platform that constantly changes, like you could wake up one day and it's like, oh, I'm not getting the same engagement anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
So personal brand, that's why I like the YouTube, the stem of YouTube first, and then play around with TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
So YouTube, you're starting to, or you've seen like the best results with. Okay.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And even like friends of mine that do it, YouTube, like YouTube ad revenue is insane.
But like, is it certain kind of ads that are working? Like, what are you guys seeing as far as like why?
YouTube ad revenue. So let me give you a little,
Yeah.
and I started doing this too, just as a personal, not from the CNG standpoint, but just like to play this out. Facebook video, let's say it's a podcast about skincare.
Yeah.
And we're talking about why this product or this ingredient helps with this kind of skin type, yada yada. Run engagement traffic.
Okay.
Don't run any ad. It's an ad, but don't run like a lead form or trying to get leads. Engagement ad to the YouTube channel.
Okay.
To that YouTube video. Have people click on that link. Have them go to YouTube.
Okay.
And see what the KPIs are. Are people actually watching this? What's the duration?
Yep.
That's the first step, because now you could see who's funneling into that video.
Yeah.
But now if you could grow it where, let's say, this ingredient helps with this skin type, and there's 1 million people out there with that skin type.
Yeah.
People are watching it and like, oh, I could fix my acne with this. Then as you get to 1,000 subscribers and you get to the monetization side of YouTube, YouTube will pay you for putting ads inside that video. Oh, so you might not sell the product, your product, but YouTube's paying you. And they pay handsomely.
Yeah. I had no idea
I
about
like
any of the structure.
I like that avenue, especially for a company like yours. That might be an avenue to to take, because then you could have the lookalike audience you could advertise to. Yeah. So that's YouTube link on YouTube, or a YouTube link on Facebook. Yeah. Engagement traffic, run it to the YouTube channel, see who's subscribing, see how the KPIs do, and then even though this is not a loss, you could still advertise to the people that are viewing it. Yeah. Because if they viewed it and they watch it for more than 5 minutes, they're there for a reason. So to take those...
Does it have to be 5 minutes?
I'm using that as like an example, yeah. But now you have 20,000 people that are viewing your content. Yeah. Take that and now run ads against them, as well as YouTube will pay you down the road.
See, it's so new to me. I'm like, so my mind is just like, what? Like, what just happened?
This just came wild. Faceless, and I got this from the Faceless YouTube space. Yeah. So like marketing videos where like they teach you like how to like set up like your SEO, set up your Google account, true crime stories.
I didn't even.
Yeah.
I know I've seen those on TikTok, but I don't. My YouTube's like.
So like their YouTube channel, they could be doing 40,000 a month in YouTube ads.
That's insane. Because I know people do like you said, faceless YouTube, and they say like it generates money. And I'm like, how from
YouTube
views?
Ads. Yeah, YouTube, because again, like if you put your ads on YouTube, you're paying a good amount. Yeah. But that has to go on, like your ads would go on a makeup girl's channel. Yeah. Because that's your target market. That's insane. So you're doing the same thing for YouTube. So YouTube's in a great spot right now.
I need to look into that, because I literally, it's a lot of that. What you just said is brand new. I know we tried YouTube ads, but like we didn't have a clue. We didn't even have like a good like conversions or anything like that. So we stopped.
I would start a channel. 2 ago. If you have the time and you have enough, because it doesn't have to just be you.
Yeah.
It could be like your office staff, and then, you know, on Mondays we're talking about this, and like this hour podcast will probably have 15 segments of like 2 to 3 minute segments, and then we'll probably pull like 20 clips from this.
That's awesome.
Off of one sit down.
Yeah.
So for a company to do that, it's great.
We have a YouTube channel, but we found more success with YouTube Shorts.
How many subs do you have?
No clue.
No. Yeah. Shorts are great.
Yeah.
Shorts are great.
Do you recommend that or full length or both?
Both. All of them.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to have all of them.
Jeez.
Yeah, you have to. Shorts are good. I mean, you'll get some traction with shorts for sure. You'll definitely get more subs through shorts. But the people that sit down and actually watch your content for over 2 minutes, they're there for a reason.
What's like the longest video you guys posted that you've seen like little to no fall off, or like, I guess what?
Video we posted, actually a couple. So we had, you ever see Sopranos?
Yeah, not much of it.
We had Federico Castelluccio. He came in. His content blew up. We got 500,000 views.
That's sick.
But we had a podcast that got 400 views. Nothing crazy. It was an hour podcast from a client that we do all their marketing for. And I looked at the KPIs, and it was an 80% view duration.
Oh wow!
I was like, what the hell?
What was the content like? What do you think made it that?
It was about mortgages, but the guy was handsome. He's a handsome-looking guy.
Yeah.
The conversation flowed.
That's sick.
And the view duration was extremely high.
Yeah.
So why? I don't know.
Yeah.
But out of those 400 views, 80% watched it almost fully, the full hour.
But there was no like click-throughs to like sign up, like nothing like that. Just, hey, here's some information.
Yeah, just a video. That was it.
Now I'm really curious.
So that's what I'm saying. Like for a skin company, if you have like the right people on, and we're right outside New York City, so you could get some crazy guests.
Oh, absolutely.
So if once people come in, they talk about your product, how great it is.
Yeah.
Long form, short form, you can still cut it up, but run that engagement traffic on Facebook and see who's interacting with that.
Yeah. Have
some good taglines saying, "Hey, this helped my acne. Hey, this got me my first date." Like something stupid.
Yeah.
But it gets eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then take it from there, and then that data is
And a lot of what you guys are doing is it's not necessarily only the people that you're like doing business with, right? It's for, I don't know everybody. If you carry your TV.
Oh, we're out now. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's insane.
Yeah.
And so what like kind of gets you back to like, oh, okay, I want instead of financial advisors, restaurants, someone like me, like when did you start venturing outside of your business?
That's how we started.
Oh, just anyone and everyone. Yeah.
We even like the sales guys that work here. I said, I'll tell them this is our main 3 avenues. This is what we know how to do well. Attorneys is another one of them. Injury attorneys.
Okay.
But if they have friends and family that have companies and that's like their first couple sales, I'll help them out with it, and we'll just guide them down that path.
That's awesome. Yeah. Man. So you pretty much have everything figured out for like your niche. It's just to actually scale it. Do you guys have a problem with that, or
scaling, like getting our clients?
Yeah. Like how do you scale? Because like you said when you started 3 years ago and like to where you are, but like you asked me what's the next step. What's the next step for you?
Next step is keep doing what we're doing.
Okay.
And do more of it.
Yeah.
If it's working, keep doing more of it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And just don't get don't go wide. Just keep getting thin. Of course. That makes sense. Because like now, we just partnered with one of our marketing clients.
Yeah.
The company does extremely well in the automotive space, and we just took that service and product, and now we're going into home services.
Okay.
So that's what I like.
Yeah.
But we're not big enough to do that with 5 different companies.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too caught up on that.
Of course.
Because now, once we stem up a new company, it takes a lot of manpower.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we keep that going while keep this going?
Yeah.
So that's what's important.
And are you going to look to kind of like create that branch, or is it not something you're really...
Branch in like in what sense?
Like if you wanted to do, multiple industries or, more clients like that. Yeah. Like, how would you do that basically? How to scale?
Great question. And I love these conversations. AI is definitely going to help for sure. The data tracking and just making sure things are running right. Because even if we have, 10 ad campaigns going on for clients, like we have our dashboard, like we go into, we can see everything, all 10 at one time. So stuff like 5 years ago, you didn't have that. You had to go into each account. So like that was time consuming. So AI is going to help with the time aspect.
Yeah.
After that, it's just hiring great people. Like you're in the situation, the C-suite. We're not there, but it's just hiring good people to oversee certain industries that we're working with and make sure everything's firing properly. And when there's a fire, let us know and we'll go attend to it.
Yeah. How do you feel about like what's it called apps like or websites like HeyGen or 11 Studios, I think it's called, like things like that? Have you guys thought about integrating that into, you know, get one of the store owners or something like that? Yeah. You know, just hey, we're gonna create a 2-minute clip of you and we're gonna start AIing your like a podcast with you. Have you thought of that?
No, because even with like the AI content, you could kind of see it's AI.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives me like a cheap feel.
Yeah.
So to do a podcast that's solely based on AI, I just don't. Yeah. I don't like it yet.
So,
what's your thought on it?
You know, it's scary. We just started experimenting with. We did. I don't know what they use. We have an ad company, and I don't know which one they use, but we tried it ourselves to replicate it. Mm-hmm. We use HeyGen, and the craziest part is now you just create a video where you can be walking around in pretty much any environment.
It looks good.
It can't tell. They literally just updated it like a month ago, and I don't know. So basically, when you're stationary, you can probably tell. You can see the lips. It's like, all right, it's not really aligning. Now, I have no idea. I'm like, there's no way that's not me.
I gotta check it out.
It's scary, man. It is scary.
That's the HeyGen platform.
Yeah,
because we have another one that we were using just to like see. I didn't like it.
Do you know which one it was?
It was from it wasn't Opus, but it was from the guys who made Opus Clip.
Okay, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, Opus Clip. They just do like podcast clip chop ups.
Okay, yeah.
It's all AI based. It's decent, but they did the same thing with like face content. So I don't know. I mean, if you're saying it looks great, then
crazy. It's scary. It is honestly scary because the one thing that I'm thinking of,
because case studies.
What do you mean?
Like you could say, hey, I've been using this company for 10 years. They're great.
Yeah.
Run that as an ad. That's a great ad for a company.
Yeah.
So.
But I think the scariest part is that like now even on Zoom meetings, I'm like, if this is being recorded, can someone take me, you know, and upload it and then make me say whatever? And they're like, look what he said online. I'm like, I thought that wasn't even me.
Yeah.
You know?
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
Yeah. Well, you heard about that bank that they AI'd someone.
No.
They took like an AI executive from a bank, and I'm trying to remember which one. This was a couple months ago. And they cloned his voice and
everything.
And they got like approval for some type of like scam. And they're like, he approved it. Yeah. I'll have to send you that link. It is insane. It is insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, AI is going to change everything.
Yeah.
It already is, but you got to learn it now. Because in 2 years from now, if you're behind, you're going to be so far behind.
You know, Sora's coming out, right? The ChatGPT text-to-video thing, that's going to be insane. They already have things that are okay, but...
So that's, So when you ask the question, like, we're going to definitely use all that in order to scale.
Yeah.
Because it's cheap.
Absolutely.
It's so cheap.
What about Midjourney? Have you guys used that?
No. What's Midjourney?
Oh, man. Yo, okay. If you got a second, I'll show you. Dude, this...
Wait, Midjourney?
Yeah, man. Wild.
What's the cost for Midjourney?
Like $10, I think.
That's it.
$11. Yeah, yeah.
That's
dude,
nuts.
Imagine. You know.
That's nuts. And I gotta check that out,
dude. It's even scarier because we have like Christine. She's doing like our pictures, our video, all this stuff, and I'm like, wait. So you're telling me that I have pretty much replaced my whole like media team with Midjourney, and there's another one. Something similar to Midjourney. I can't think of it. But, everything's taken care of now. So I don't need people at all.
Yeah.
It's scary.
For $10, you get any model influencer looking that you want.
Yeah. And if you want 10 of them, cool.
Done.
It's unlimited. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Wow. It's going to get exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what'd you think of this? It was fun, right?
Yeah, this was wild. Honestly, didn't know what to expect. Yeah. Just came in here with an open mind.
Let's
but I loved it, man. I loved it.
We'll clip this up. We'll send you over some clips for your socials.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you having me, and, I can't wait to do it again.
Eddie, you're the man.
We're going to have to have you come to the facility, and check it out. You just tell me.
100%.
Dude, I'm Monday through Sunday. You pick a day, I'm there, literally.
Nice.